Warning, this podcast will probably feature spoilers for many, many episodes of Doctor Who.
It's like a 10-year-old Roblox YouTuber. That's why I stopped using this mic.
It's gamer time.
Out of all the Doctor Who companions, which do you think is most, or the modern Doctor Who companions, which is like the most like epic gamer of all of them?
I want to say what? Ryan.
No. I'm gonna say Capaldi.
No, that's not a companion.
Right. You said companions and not doctors. I heard that. My brain works.
I mean, I will ask the follow-up question. If 12 is a gamer, what is 12 the best gamer at?
Bro, I feel like he gets really... Oh, I'm trying to think. I feel like he gets really into, like, Minecraft.
Yeah,
no,
I was expecting you'd say that, honestly.
I feel like 11 is Minecraft, 12 is like Guitar Hero, but plays CSGO on the side.
No, 12 plays CSGO.
No. See, because you'd expect 11 to play Minecraft, but like, that's like 11? That's 11? Like the obvious thing. You know, 11...
Guys, 11 plays Club Penguin.
It's a bold choice, and I respect the vision, but I can't agree with you. I will assert that I believe 11 is a Doom guy. He really likes the original Doom.
That involves, like, shooting aliens, though, and that's...
Yes, because, see, think about it. What are video games for? They're an escape, so, like, it's not real, you know?
Also, they're literally from hell, so...
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Alright.
You're listening to the Back to the TARDIS podcast, a retrospective podcast discussing every episode of the ongoing 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. Today's episode is Season 1, Episodes 4 and 5, Aliens of London and World War III. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we discuss every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
I'm Skylar.
I'm Avery.
And today we are discussing a first for this podcast, 2 episodes at once, the Revival series' first two-parter, Aliens of London and World War III, both of which were written by ya boy Russell T. Davies. Fun fact, not only is this the first two-parter of the new series, this is the first two-part episode, I believe, since Six's tenure.
Huh.
Nerd.
Yes, I am. That's why I'm here.
I think that we're all here.
Yeah. So, starting off, right away, I think the episode puts its strongest plot forward in that this is legitimately, like, the first time Doctor Who has ever, like, discussed, like, you know, like, what happens to the people that companions leave behind. Like, how do they react when someone just up and disappears for, in this case, a literal year?
I fucking love just how shitty Rose is in this
Yeah, no,
Rose suck
and the
so fucking much.
Yeah, Rose and the Doctor do some shitty things this episode.
Like, she just, like, rolls up, and she's like, oh, hi, Mom, and she's like, and the mom obviously, she thinks she's been gone for 12 hours, she's actually been gone for 12 months, the mom flips the fuck out, and they just, the doctor comes back, and they just sort of like, oh, well, we, we just forgot, we forgot to call, we were busy. Oh, and also, back to RTD being horny on Maine, she's like, the mom is just like, is it some sort of sex thing you guys were doing?
Well, I mean, at least in that case, like, that makes sense as, like, a question that would be asked.
Yeah.
True.
Also, this episode starts this fun continuity thing where technically every modern episode set in modern times for Doctor Who between now and Planet of the Dead is actually set a year ahead of when the episode was actually aired. So that's fun.
Interesting. Which season is Planet of the Dead?
That's Tennant Special season.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And one would assume Planet of the Dead, but really it's not 100% set back to normal until the 11th hour.
I see.
Yeah, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So yeah, I mean, like, there's this, like, I think Rose's sort of reaction to this, like, it's not like she does shitty stuff later. I don't think this is the shitty thing, because, like, realistically, what the fuck are you going to tell her? She's not gonna believe, oh, I went with this man in his time-traveling box to the year 5 billion, watched the Earth explode, and met Charles fucking Dickens.
It sounds like some sort of TV show. Of course she wouldn't believe it.
So, yeah. Also, Jackie supposedly slaps 9, but, like, you can clearly see that it whiffs.
Yeah.
Like,
actually
it's
need to watch
really
that again.
clear. Yeah, no, it whiffs. It whiffs hard.
Yeah, that actress in general, I like her well enough as Rose's mom, but especially when she was just like, where were you, sweetheart? I was just like, I don't believe this at all. This is just like, like, the adjective, like, shrill is overused, especially for women, but, like, it sounded like fake, like, upset shrillness, and I was just like, you could have done a different take.
Yeah. So fun fact, technically, there's a shot of once they land back in London, there is a shot of a boy spray painting Bad Wolf onto the side of the TARDIS, and this was actually, from a production standpoint, this was the first Bad Wolf, and that shot actually inspired RTD to go back and put it in other episodes. It wasn't initially planned to show up in other episodes. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It was in the last 2 episodes, though, I remember.
Yeah, well, they didn't shoot him in order.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because production-wise with location, you would want to do it. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Oh, you want to do all the London episodes first. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, Oh, and also, I think just production-wise, this was the first episode shot, I believe.
Oh.
I'll have to check that real quick, but I believe that is the case. But yeah, like, the fact that, especially, like, it's brought up later with Sarah Jane too, but the fact that, like, 4, like, is like, oh, I'll totally, like, when 4, like, essentially has to kick her out because he gets summoned to go back to Gallifrey and they don't allow humans on the planet then. But when 4 and Sarah Jane leave, he's like, oh yeah, I'll drop you in Croydon, and it's later revealed that he dropped her in Aberdeen, which is in Scotland and, like, hours away. So yeah, so it's like, this is like the first time the series really, like, takes notice of the fact that, like, oh yeah, these are people with, like, pre-existing lives and families and friends that would obviously be alarmed when they just up and disappear.
I like, this is going ahead a bunch, but, like, Rose, like, being like, and it probably goes to the fact that it hasn't been a year for her, but the fact that, like, Mickey comes to her and not like the other way around, when like obviously like if you were in a caring relationship, you'd be like, holy crap, my boyfriend probably thinks I'm dead, or like ran off with this strange man, or
Oh,
no,
and then she's just like, I meant to call you.
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
sure.
On
That's
another
a thing
note,
that
though.
happened.
On another note, though, this is the start of Mickey Smith's road to utter chaddom.
Utter Chad.
Oh, going back to the part we were at, like basically like he gets slapped and then we get a not great line from Rose where she just straight up says, haha, you're so gay, and like,
So,
you know,
yeah, I gotta be honest. Maybe I'm just one of those like. Maybe I'm just one of those queers, and like that phrase has been used to like bully me, but like I didn't. I thought it was like cringe, and that's the vernacular at the time. But like at the same point, considering who wrote the episode, I do think that's like the
yeah,
point.
no. I yeah. My problem isn't that it's like that he had Rhodes say it, because like obviously RTD is gay, and like he got criticism for this, and you know it is that explanation, you know, that's just how like British people talk sometimes.
Yeah.
My problem wasn't that she said it; it's that the doctor like doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
But again,
like,
this was also 2005.
yeah, no,
Also,
but if you were gonna have it in, like it's out of character for the doctor to not like rebut
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I'd also point out that even later on, when they bring Jack in, they only kind of they imply and use like subtext, or in this case, the term dancing, to kind of dance around straight up saying, "Yeah, he'll fuck anyone."
yeah, I don't know.
also-
I was
so
just
I-
like, that didn't
Yeah.
need to be there.
yeah,
Okay,
I would say.
so just real quick, FYI, I have checked on Wikipedia and verified that I don't know if it was the first episode shot, but Rose, Aliens of London, and World War III were the first block of episodes shot, and they were all shot in one block. And then, because that's how they do it, they shoot multiple episodes in sort of blocks. So that first block did include these episodes, so they were shot before most of the other stuff we've covered.
That makes sense.
Just getting into the next part, like, there's sort of this
yeah.
whole sequence that's really funny. You know, the spaceship crashes, and you know it's big news.
Yeah.
And then
I think the entire, like, as much as I dislike other things about the Slitheen, I think the Slitheen's actual plan is really good writing.
oh yeah, the plan was smart. It's just the Slitheen themselves are bad.
Yeah.
I just in this moment, what I really liked was when it crashes and they're just like, how can we get a closer look? And and then Rose just goes, we can watch it on the TV, and then they all go back to the apartment
Yeah.
and just like watch it on the TV, and it turns into like a watching party. It just
Yeah.
it was a good funny bit.
Yeah, and there's a really cute scene of like Nine like hanging out with like a baby.
Yeah,
That-
he's like
also-
watching the TV.
Also, it's really funny how, like, especially once you know the plan, that, like, you start to realize that the spaceship crash is literally the most extra thing. It comes careening in super fast, black smoke, like, flies past, like, all the major, like, London architecture, like, it barely misses Tower Bridge, it goes around St. Paul's Cathedral, and then it hits Big Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the doctor's reaction to it is like perfect. It's like
Yeah.
so Nine. Just like the laugh grabs Rose's hand, you know,
Yeah.
insert your own
No,
meme
this-
about run, you know, and then
Yeah.
go off.
This is like really like one of the episodes that shows the most, or sorry, this story in general, both episodes kind of shows how much of just like a crazy adrenaline junkie Nine is.
Yeah. I mean,
Like-
considering where he comes from, it makes total sense.
Yeah, like other doctors have like varying levels of this, but most of them would be like, "Huh, that's interesting." And Nine's like manic grinning and running straight at it, and yeah.
Yeah. Also, just moving on a bit to, they recover the alien body, blah, 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 and then it starts cutting into, the inside of the government. And we start getting the good epic moments of this two-parter, all the 2000s Britain political commentary.
Yeah. Apparently, it didn't work out because the person they hired like turned out to not look like him at all. But the prime minister that they kill off and like lock in the cupboard was actually supposed to be Tony Blair.
Nice.
That wouldn't have caused any blowback.
A little bit of a fantasy on RTD's part there, perhaps.
Yeah.
But like that is what basically what there is some hints to that though, because he's just like, there's this line here where he's just like, they're not sure about the whereabouts of the prime minister. He hasn't been seen. The opposition are criticizing his lack of leadership. Just a very BBC line there.
Yeah.
He's literally not there at all. The opposition are criticizing his lack of leadership.
Yeah. He's literally dead in a cupboard in 10 Downing Street.
Meanwhile,
Also, I've already said this in the chat, but for those who listening, another fun story from my first time I watched this episode files, because I was really young. I was like 9 or 10. My dad had to explain to me what 10 Downing Street was.
I mean, I just guessed it by context. I'm guessing it's the prime minister's place or whatever.
Yeah, it's essentially the White House for the British government, except like a little bit less formal.
Yeah.
Like up until recently, you could like go like straight up to the door.
Well, yeah, because it's in the middle of a city.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, the alien gets taken to a hospital, and this is retroactively the first appearance of future Torchwood character Tosh. And it's later retcon that like she's covering for a different Torchwood character who's actually like the medical person. But yeah. But like this was intended to just be a bit piece, and then she got cast in Torchwood, so retroactively RTD was like, yeah, it's her.
Unlike Peter Capaldi just chilling in the Fires of Pompeii episode.
Well, no, they did kind of explain that.
Oh, wasn't it that he like remembered the face or something?
Yeah, he remembered the face as a reminder that he could save people, which then of course leads to him fucking up Maisie Williams' life forever. But we'll get to that later.
Not forever. She dies at the end of all of it.
No, she doesn't.
No, like when the universe ends.
Nope.
Alright, I'm misremembering things.
Shut up. Yes, you are.
Shut the fuck up. I don't care, nerd. Look at this as some sort of Doctor Who podcast where we're supposed to know things about Doctor Who.
No,
imagine that.
And back to our hockey podcast.
Yeah. And we have our first fart joke. Now, I'll have you know that I have right here with me an official tally of every single fart joke in this two-parter. I have it right here. Aliens of London / World War III unfunny fart joke tally. And the total across both parts is 18, 15 of which are in this episode. And they're all like within like, there's like 2 like big spikes where like the majority, like there's like 1 or 2 thrown out, and then the rest are all in like 30-second bursts.
Nice.
Really affects that pacing super well. Just everything's flowing smooth. Just
I gotta keep
beautiful.
things clear, keep things moving out into the world.
Yeah. another thing, we get introduced to future Prime Minister Harriet Jones MP for Flydale North.
So I have a question that, you might not know at all, but like, what is an MP? I assume that's kind of like a senator.
member of
It's
Parliament.
Yeah, it's a member of Parliament. It's basically like a House member.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I figured, like some type of Congress equivalent. I just, I hear that phrase
Yeah.
and I'm just like, multiplayer.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's a member of Parliament.
Cool.
And yeah, so there's things to be said about Harriet Jones later, and I think that like some of her later characterization is a little weird comparing with how she's established in this episode.
She's established as very much like the nerdy, dedicated to her job one.
Yeah,
Like, the very
and then
nose
like,
rhinestone politician.
and in her only other appearance as Prime Minister, like, she suddenly turns into very obvious like Thatcher commentary, and it's like, what?
Yeah, it's a little disparate, but it definitely works to contrast who we don't know are aliens yet. And it's just like,
Yeah.
this is the politician that like knows her constituents, that's like,
Yeah.
sitting down with them, knows Granny's name, I don't know. But
I mean, I'm just getting into that, like the since we mentioned the fart jokes and like the characterization of the Slitheen as politicians, I'm just gonna
They're
voice
actually
my
not.
issues with
They're
that.
actually not all politicians. Like they mention later on that there's one that's just like the CEO of this like random like food company. Not even like a processed food company. It's like agriculture or something, and they're just like, what the fuck is she doing here? It's just
Right,
like
but,
the
like,
main
here-
trio that are all like one's an MP, one's a member of MI5, and like one's a general.
Yeah, okay, but like my thing was just like it's part of their thing that they like inhabit fat people, and then they just like they have the funny fart jokes, and they don't care about anyone. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I had problems with that. I talked about this in the group chat. Just like it felt very much like targeting fat people for no reason and just like punching down on them as like, yeah, they're secretly aliens who like hate you, and also haha, fat person farting. That's funny.
I'd argue that it's less about fat people and more characterizing specifically politicians as that being like their physical attributes.
Right, but that's still like that you're still
Yeah.
associating it
Yeah.
with a negative. Like
Yeah.
that it's still the same problem.
Yeah. I will say it's one of the things like I legitimately didn't think about it until you brought it up, because like their explanation like scientifically does make sense. Like they're 9 feet tall. If you're going to compress that down to human size, that has to go somewhere.
Yeah, but and as I pointed out, like they wrote it that way. Like they could have
Yeah.
written them to be smaller, or written
Yeah.
another explanation for it, or just not explained it,
Yeah.
because that happens a
Yeah.
lot.
And I have to
Yeah.
admit, probably the fart jokes make it worse. The thing that I was explaining to Jeff a bit earlier is that like I don't know if it's just because I've watched this episode like multiple times that I'm like numb to it, but the fart jokes just like were like a flat neutral for me. Like obviously they're like very base level humor, but I was just like, yeah, this is the part of the episode where that happens, and I feel like if as a person who has some weight issues, does it feel the best to like see them like on screen that way? Like no, obviously not, but it's also a thing where it's just like, yeah, we can't change anything about it now. At least they attempt some type of explanation, and they get actual actors who are that weight class and don't get people in a obscenely offensive fat suit, which obviously doesn't excuse. I don't think if this episode came out today, we wouldn't be
We wouldn't vibe with it. Yeah. I
yeah,
get you.
exactly. But since it's part of this larger whole, it's kind of like it's part and parcel of like what is happening in this series, I guess. But yeah, it's Definitely not my favorite Alien for that and other reasons, though the one from Clom, the Absorbaloff, is probably worse, my opinion.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I think. Actually, sorry. Can we take just a moment to give our respect for the dude who dressed up in a pig costume and ran around in a hospital? Because that was an actual guy.
King shit.
Hearts off to you.
Yeah. What a legend. But yeah, there's also, like, there is a little bit of characterization that, like, despite this doctor being a lot, like, colder and a lot more, like, well, it's weird, like, colder, but also, like, a lot more, like, adrenaline focused, and yeah, there is the very nice line where once the pig escapes and runs around and eventually gets shot by Unit, he's like, what the fuck? It was scared. What the fuck, dude?
Because it turns out to have been just a pig sewn to another body. Yeah. Oof.
I do
Yeah.
like this. This kind of goes like, we're zigzagging all over the place, but that when the doctor leaves to kind of like start to investigate things, because he's starting to put together like that crash was like too, movie blockbuster picturesque that he's like leaving, but even like as the audience, you don't get the impression that he distrusts or is going to leave Rose specifically because of the key thing, which is like a nice touch. You didn't have to put that in there like at that exact moment, but it did lend like a nice balance to like when he's like leaving and he's giving orders to all these soldiers. You still don't lose like the human connection that he's like anchored to where he is somewhat, that this isn't just like another job or day of the week for him.
Yeah. I like as much as like the Slitheen in general are bad that we talked about, I do think their characterization where like partly when they're threatening like the general guy and I'm about to kill him, and also when just later when they're by themselves where they're just like fucking around and treating the whole thing as like a joke. I think that's pretty funny because the actors are very clearly like hamming it up and having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, as an actor, I can confirm whenever you're given a role like that and you can just go for it, it's the best thing in the world. So,
and like the first reveal of the forehead zipper is him literally going, "Oh, I'm so scared. I mean, that's hair raising, literally." And he reveals the fucking zipper. Like, that's good. Then another thing that I think is a little bit, I mean, they don't really talk about like that part of it, but I think it you can definitely infer it as like a based RTD moment, is pointing out about how with Rose gone, like immediately the first suspect is Mickey.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, I mean, I think part of it was just like, oh yeah, he's the boyfriend, but definitely part of that was because he's black, and they're like, oh yeah, black man kill white woman, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I will say that is a little based on RTD for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And pointing that out. Now there is a little bit of the fact that like I don't get why like at this point Mickey's just like, fuck you, I'm out.
Bro, for real.
I mean, he is part of the thing that is like his arc is that he is like the puppy dog who's going after Rose, and then when they come back to deal with like the Slitheen that like gets left behind, he's very much that. It isn't until like school reunion that he starts realizing that
he realizes like, he's the tin dog, and I think that like
wait, are you telling me that Mickey is a simp? Am I wrong?
Much boomer 21. Explain.
I don't know either, but that's because like I'm illiterate on the internet and I don't spend nearly as much time on Twitter as you do, Avery.
Yeah, well, basically, it's like what Mickey is. You know, you have like a thing with a girl, but like it's sort of like being a reply guy, but it's like, it's less creepy and more pathetic.
Reply guy.
I mean, that's how
it.
that's how it's used. It has sometimes it can be used like neutrally or even positively, but like that's how I'm using it for him. He's just sort of like he just lets Rose walk all over him, but because he's horny for her, he just lets her do it.
But yeah, his glow up his glow up is phenomenal. But
Yeah, no, I think like it is kind of weird that like as much as I like how his kind of revelation is portrayed over like School Reunion and The Girl in the Fireplace and the Cybermen two-parter, I think that like from like a IRL standpoint, I don't see why he like isn't immediately like, nah, fuck you, like here, given that she dips on him for a year. He says he was questioned like 5 times.
And he says like nobody will date him because they all think he murdered her.
Yeah, and even Jackie is like not very warm to him.
Yeah, Jackie thinks he murdered her too.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I love how like so the TARDIS lands like Nine comes back from having his little like adventure shenanigan at the hospital, and both Mickey and Jackie are there, and Rose is like, no shit, no guys, please no. And like then when she comes in to tell him, like they're both like fairly nonplussed on the fact that like, oh yeah, like your mom's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the domestic side, you know, as much as I kind of made fun of the actress for Jackie, she does generally in most circumstances get that across. So yeah, it's all good. It's all groovy. The Earth gang, Rose's fam, if you will, does a good job in this and the next episode.
Yeah, no. And like the fact that like she does contact the government because an alien invasion literally just happened, and she would have absolutely no way of knowing that whether or not the Doctor is related to that.
Yeah. Like around that moment too, a lot of the more heavy-handed commentary comes next episode, but there is this one part where it's just like, you know, as crisis is happening, you know, panic sweeping the country, and then there's been at least 3 reports of public assaults on people falsely identified as aliens, and it's just like,
Oof.
Yeah,
Oof.
that's a pretty. I think it's a good commentary, yeah, especially because of, you know, all the commentary that happens next episode too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, I do like it's a little bit weird, like how UNIT are like portrayed, like they're not like, it's weird, like once you get into like Christmas Invasion and Beyond, UNIT are portrayed with like a little bit more like presence to them, and like UNIT are technically here, but they're not ever called UNIT.
No, he calls them UNIT at a few points.
Okay, but still, like they're kind of lacking stuff that
yeah,
UNIT
they're just
has.
sort of like paper dolls there.
Yeah, they're just kind of there. But yeah, it's weird that like, because he worked for UNIT in the 70s, so the fact that like they immediately go to like the Prime Minister and not to like UNIT HQ is a little weird, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, no, nine literally I just goes like, take me to your leader with like a shit-eating grin.
He would.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of the Doctors that wouldn't, except maybe one. So.
Yeah. Also, Rose just kind of being like, holy shit, I'm at 10 Downing Street. So yeah, they're taken to 10 Downing Street to have a meeting. Rose is not allowed into the meeting, so she finds Harriet and starts to talk to her. I really like, so we're getting into the territory where we start to have the cliffhanger for this episode. And so the Doctor, like, literally starts to figure out, like, in the room with the aliens that like it was all fake and the aliens are in the room right there. And there's the amazing line, "Excuse me, do you mind not farting while I'm saving the world?"
He must have read that line in the script that day, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is what I signed up for.
Yeah. And then the fucking Slitheen responds with, "Would you rather silent but deadly?" Which is fucking...
No, don't you understand? It's subtext. It's subtle, okay? You see, silent but deadly refers to a fart, but it also refers to them. Get it? It's really clever. You have to really be thinking about it with all your brain to get it.
You know, you have to have a high IQ to understand Russell T. Davies' social commentary.
Hey man, I just thought of this. Do you think they, like, on set had, like, something that was making the fart sound, or if they just had to pretend all of that was happening and added it in post?
Oh, it's definitely a post sound.
I can't decide which is funnier. Yeah. But,
yeah, no, based on, like, I don't know, just based on the audio quality from my memory, it was definitely added in post.
Yeah,
it was like
no,
it was a pretty clear, like, stock fart sound effect.
Yeah. It's like mid-tier disgusting. Like there's like some wetness to it. It's not like the
That's
one.
what I was
fucking,
gonna say.
like,
Yeah,
it's not like
it's not like dry. It's not quite dry, and it's not like quite you're shitting your pants. But there's some
no, it's not the fucking the gnome video one. It's not like as bad as that. Have y'all seen? Okay,
No,
y'all know the You've Been Gnomed video, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's like I don't know if it's like a sequel or like an extension to that, where, like, he literally, like, sticks his ass at the camera and farts, and it is the most disgusting sound effect I have ever heard. It is bad. And now I have an excuse to link it in the show notes.
Oh,
yes.
So yeah, I'd rate the fart sounds like a solid C. You know,
69 out of 420.
Everyone looks forward to the episode ranking, but, you know, the true ones, the true fans of this podcast, dear listener, they care about the fart rankings. You're welcome. Good
night. Can I just say, like, last episode I sort of mentioned that there was this whole thing of, like, there were good moments, but they were things that I feel like were done better in later episodes. And I don't know why, but I sort of got that vibe from his, like, figuring things out in real time thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why. Like, it didn't even remind me of, like, one of those other scenes. For some reason, it reminded me of the scene in Zygon Inversion, you know, where they're sitting down and, you know, they don't remember which one is which.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it reminded me of that scene.
No, I was thinking kind of like figuring out what's going on right when it's happening and realizing you're in danger is very much an 11 thing, because 11 is like the one who is like the most prone to like pulling shit out of his ass and having absolutely no plan.
See, that's an interesting, like, we sort of mentioned this before, but, like, this whole season is way more low-key than later seasons. Like, usually the things feel a lot more, like, high stakes, like, you know, lots of running and doing things with technology, and in this season it's just like, oh, we'll just, like, beat it over the head with something and, you know, that solves the problem, or we'll just run a little bit faster and get out of the way, that sort of thing. It's all like... I don't know. It's got that really campy feel.
No. This season is definitely camp. Like, this is the. I mean, I don't know how accurate this analogy is, and, like, even then, take it with a grain of salt, because I think it's better than what I'm going to mention. But it's the Star Trek: The Next Generation season 1 of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
See, but except it's actually good, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. Unlike The Next Generation, I can actually get through the season, which is part of the reason why I haven't gotten into The Next Generation at all.
Fair enough. I would say this is, like, in terms of, like, a series, this and the next episode are kind of where we're seeing a transition from, like, the majority of like the good focus of the episode is on the characters and the characterization, to the plot being a little bit more like involved, and like Dalek, it definitely gets there with that and like going on.
Yeah, I mean,
forward.
there's some
but,
big
like,
characterization there too, but yeah.
Yeah, this is like a nice like kind of bridge. You could see it as I don't have any evidence to say that they planned it that way. It seemed like it's gone that way so far.
I also think, aside from the reality TV shit later on in the season, this is like the campiest it gets.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
At least it's less dated than the reality TV shit. But okay, so real shit, you know, Slitheen may be dumb, but this cliffhanger where like they've been avoiding showing like them out of the suits or even like taking the suits off all episode, like even with the dodgy CG, and in fact maybe because of the dodgy CG, like them like pulling the skin suits off is still legitimately disturbing. Like, I was watching it, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. They only needed to do it once, basically.
Yeah, it was like, whew, boy. But yeah, so the Doctor is in a room with a bunch of alien experts and two Slitheen, who reveal themselves to the Doctor and electrocute everyone in the room, including the Doctor, while Rose and Harriet Jones are being attacked by third Slitheen. And then suddenly cut to credits. So, back to the episode. This is like one of the few cases where the cliffhanger, like when they do the previously on, the cliffhanger is resolved before the opening credits. And this is also like a real like classic Who way of resolving cliffhangers, where it's like, oh yeah, he's a Time Lord, so like this shit doesn't affect him in the same way.
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like,
Like they tend
pretty...
not to pull that out of their ass as much anymore.
But it was just really funny to me, like, oh yeah, he's a Time Lord, so like being electrocuted doesn't kill him.
I mean it can't. I mean it can. It's just they had it. I believe it requires more than it would for a human.
Yeah. They had it set to Mini instead of Wombo.
Relevant reference. Yeah. I just assumed that it was just like, oh yeah, it's set to human, and to him it's just like a big shock, and then after that a minor inconvenience. Of course the real answer is plot, but you know, then
even if it wasn't lethal though, it should still fucking burn him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Also, so Mickey saves Jackie, who I forgot to mention before the episode break, was also being menaced by a Slitheen, and then he takes a photograph on it on his shitty 2005 mobile phone, which
probably got like
would
5
have a
pixels.
quality. Yeah, it would have a quality of 69 pixels. The image would be incredibly blurry and have like terrible lighting, and like the picture that he shows on his phone later to the Doctor, I'm like, there's no way he took that picture on his phone.
Hey, you know, Mickey
also
just has like mad camera skills.
Yeah. Also, I love how the doctor like goes and grabs the police, brings them into the room with the aliens, and because the aliens are disguised as the prime minister and like the head general of the British army, they're like, no, he did it. And he's like, oh shit. There is no way to escape from this conundrum.
I love how he asks them, and it's just like, yeah, you're not gonna believe me. And there's just like, nope. He's just like, fair enough.
Yeah. Also, so they chase him up against a wall, and it's this weirdest thing because the entire thing is like the wall is actually like the door to the elevator and he escapes in, but like the door is open long enough that they could like start firing and turn his body into Swiss cheese.
For real, like at
They
any
just
moment
let
they
him
could have just
leave.
fired, because like it's not like the bullets are slow, and they had like a full like 2 or 3 seconds, and even when the doors closed, they had semi-automatic weapons. They could have just fired through the elevator doors, but instead they're just like, oh no, he got us.
He got us.
And that's what I mean with
He
like the
was
really
like-
campy shit in these episodes, where it's just like, you know, modern Doctor, you know, if somebody, he had a bunch of guns pointed at him, he'd like talk his way out of it or do like a technology thing, and instead this one just fucking walks away.
Yeah. I'd like to submit my rewrite of that scene where he's about to get shot and Nine's like give my regards to Ligma, and one of the Slitheen's like, what's Ligma? And he goes, Ligma balls, and goes into the fucking elevator, and like that shocks everyone so much that they don't shoot at him.
That's the real big dick 9 shit right there.
Yeah. Oh no, the best Big Dick 9 thing is later on in the episode, and we'll get to that.
Yes.
So, yeah. Also, the greatest line is whenever the Slitheen refer to not being in their suits as being naked. I need to be naked. and then the other one goes, rejoice in it, your body is magnificent. And I'm like, RTD, chill out, chill the fuck out. Especially because they're all like from the same family, so like that's weird.
Hey, you know, something relative morality SJW cucks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, yeah, no, another thing is about your thing of like dealing with like enemies by just like bonking on their head. The Doctor like fends the Slitheen off with a goddamn fire extinguisher. He just sprays shit at them. And they like flail around and shit for a while.
Is Rose much of an agent in this episode? It seems to me like she's the most like
No, she doesn't do shit in this episode.
device that she has been, because it's just like, oh, I could kill, you know, or I could save the world but lose you, which like for their relationship isn't as like tokeny save the princess as it could be, but it was just like, you know.
Yeah, no, the Doctor does like most of the stuff in this episode. Either like the Doctor or Mickey and Harriet Jones.
I mean, we get a lot
Actually,
more...
no, not even Harriet Jones. It's literally just the Doctor and Mickey.
Yeah, we get a lot more of Rose in Dalek and of course like the rest. So I'm not going to be like actually mean on it, but it was just like one thing I noticed where it's just like, huh, you know, I guess the same thing could be said for Unquiet Dead, but like, yeah.
Also, they had this fucking goofy ass Scooby-Doo chase sequence where they're running through the halls with this chasing guy, and then
the CGI
Slitheen break a door, and it's a CGI door.
And then it runs through. It looks like It looks like something from the fucking 90s.
No, it doesn't look like it's from the 90s. It looks like it's from like Half-Life 2, which was a game that came out in 2004, so that would have been contemporary. Like Half-Life 2, maybe a little later. Like it looks like late PS2, early PS3 era model.
Good shit.
It was bad.
Yeah. Also, I love how, like, the doctor, like, stalls them with, like, a bullshit explanation and gets them to talk for a little bit, and then one of them's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work. And because he's like, I'm gonna triple the flammability of this alcohol. And then someone's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work, you can't do that. And he's like, oh, well, like, nice try. And he's like, Harriet, have a drink, I think you're going to need it.
And then he shuts the doors.
Yeah, he shuts the doors, which is my favorite. This is my favorite Big Dick 9 episode, part of the episode, where he's like, installed in 1991, 3 inches of steel lining, they'll never get in. And Rose is like, and how do we get out? And he's just like, oh, yeah.
And then it just cuts to the scene there, like, the doctor has been safely contained.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like, isn't that like when he keeps opening it up a bunch of times, and this is where we like find out their actual plan, and then when he closes it for real, he's like, all fun and games drop from him, and he just like
yeah,
glares.
well, no, it takes a little bit. He opens it and then he closes it. Also, I love how, like, when they summon the rest of the Slitheen, they're like, here's the coat room if you just like to go through, and you see them, like, hanging up their fucking skin suits on hangers. Like, they don't leave them on the floor. No, they hang them up and they put them in the closet.
I wonder if they custom made those. Did they bring those with them? Did they?
No, they literally take the people that they kill and, like, hollow them out and just put their skin back on. They literally do it in the last episode.
My question is, they like, later we learn, like, yeah, they're the ones that took out the Prime Minister and put him in a closet. Why didn't they just take his body?
Probably because Tony Blair's a skinny motherfucker.
That's true.
Fucking, hold on, let me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look this up. I mean, I vaguely know what he looks like, but I need to look at a photo real quick. Tony Blair.
He's definitely on the skinnier side.
Ooh, boy, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, and then fucking, okay, so RTD. Well, I mean, we're getting a little bit ahead, but we'll go back to this. Because the first Slitheen that comes into Mickey's flat is defeated by them throwing a bunch of, like, pickled shit at it because they're weak to vinegar, because they're calcium based.
That is actually a cool
he has, like,
thing.
this, like, weird enthusiasm with, like, making enemies explode into goop. Like, Cassandra Gorley explodes, the Slitheen Gorley explodes. I can think of, off the top of my head, at least 3 different times in the Sarah Jane Adventures where, when the villain is vanquished, they explode into goop, which covers the entirety of the main cast.
Because that's how physiology works.
Yeah. It's like
Slitheen just had a built-in, if you pour vinegar on me, I will explode.
Well, I think they said that, like, putting them into compression for the suits exacerbates it, so, like, it makes them more weak to it. But they did kind of pull that out of their ass. But no, I guess RTD has just like a weird, like, fetish for, like, things exploding into goop. Avery, you're more knowledgeable on this than I am. What would that be? Like, is there a name for that?
I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know what it is.
The real question is, are you going to make a cursed tweet about
I
things exploding?
am already making one.
Bless. I want to. I just think that's another element that's, like, part of the camp. And honestly, it works as, like, a tension reliever to a very tense situation. And I love the joke that it's just, like, Mickey has all this stuff, and then he's just like, you kiss this. I don't think he says you sleep with this man, but he's just like, you kiss this man.
Yeah. And the funny thing is how, like, he has all this stuff, but he doesn't know where any of it is, which implies that, like, either, like, Rose bought it or, like, he doesn't ever go in his kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, you know. Plot.
Also, another Rose moment. where Doctor's explaining how the compression field works, and Rose is like, wish I had a compression field, I could fit a size smaller, and I'm like, bitch, you're literally a supermodel, chill the fuck out.
That's one of those like differences in like casting where it's just like, oh, she's the like not conventionally attractive misunderstood one, and then it's like at the end of the A Wrinkle in Time movie that just came out, where at the end she like takes off her glasses and it's just like, oh, she's pretty now, and it's just like, it's Hollywood, yeah, or even here it's, it's BBC, but it's still the same thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like that, like it, yeah. That would be a comment that like would be in character for like Donna and not like clash as hard, but yeah. No, with Rose it's just like, okay, even though it is in character for her. Also, Rose like suggests like, can we throw a nuke at them? And Harriet's like, you're a very violent young woman. Which is also funny considering where RTD takes her character in her next appearance. Also, the Doctor has Mickey hack into the unit website with apparently this master like debug password is fucking Buffalo. Who the fuck designed Unit's like web architecture? Like, no like engineer in their safe mind, if they, well, first of all, they wouldn't make a debug password like that. That's just like idiot no. But like, why would they make it like a single like obvious word? It's just Buffalo, lowercase, no symbols, no numbers. It's just like, wow.
My headcanon is that's 3. But yeah, it's probably definitely not.
They didn't have the internet when 3 was working at Unit.
Nah, man, he's just that good. I don't know. Okay, it's not 3. Just ruin things for me. Yeah, it's convenient.
Yeah.
The vibes that like I saw that scene, and the vibes it gave me was, I don't know if you've seen this, but Neil Breen's Fateful Findings. I don't know if
I
you've
haven't
seen
it, but I know of Neil Breen's reputation.
Right, so there's this whole plot line in the movie where the main character just, his whole thing is he's just typing away at all these laptops, and he's always like destroying them, and like, clearly fake anger. He'll like pour coffee on them, or like throw them against the wall, and he's always like, ah! And then, it turns out he's, and I quote, hacking the government. And then he reveals all the, and I quote, government secrets, and then all the government people kill themselves, and that's the vibes I got from this scene.
If you link me to that, I will put it in the show notes.
I don't know if it's in a single clip, but I'll look for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's the vibes I got from it. It was very, we're hacking the government.
Yeah, no, it's great. There is a genuinely good characterization thing here where Jackie like straight up asks the Doctor, is Rose safe? And that very clearly gets to him. Like, he can't answer that, and that bothers him sincerely.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and there really isn't. I mean, the RTD era is good at having that type of meditation with 11. We don't really get that until, I forget the episode, where they're in the hotel, I'd argue, from hell.
AKA they're, the God Complex, you mean?
Yes, that. Where it's like very clear that there's like danger and stuff. But yeah, that's a good moment. And yeah, of course, the music on top of all of this is on point. So really driving home all the feels, and the fact that if this is filmed first, or if it's just in the first block, that like there's already they have this chemistry where you believe they have like formed this tight bond is pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good. Then while they're hacking, they're interrupted by the Slitheen, which breaks in and, of course, gets gooped by them tossing vinegar at them.
Classic.
Yeah. And then we get, okay, I'm just gonna lay one round right here. Base RTD where the acting prime minister, which is of course a Slitheen in disguise, goes onto TV and announces that they're going to war with the quote aliens, and the entire thing is like not even trying to be subtle in its commentary on the
They literally
Iraq
say
war.
massive weapons of destruction.
Yeah, that can be armed in 45 seconds. And the best part is like he's like, please pass an emergency resolution. Let us have nukes. and the best part is when he's like, he's making it up. There's no weapons. He just invented it. And Harriet's like, do you think they'll believe him? And Rose is like, they did last time.
Bum 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da.
The fact that like they knew that would work makes me feel like the Slitheen decided to invade Earth after they caught like Bush on TV and were like, oh yeah, these guys are fucking idiots.
They just look at our news and be like, this is an easy hit job.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I have to look this up. The name of the president of the U.S. that Saxon Master kills has such like a dumb American name, but would probably be the president at this
Hold
time
on.
and would totally.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
He would-
Is it the same president as in this episode? Because I'm pretty
No,
sure
it's not. No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's a
Darn.
new character. Hold on.
But like,
Let me find President Arthur Coleman Winters.
That's a very president name.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would totally be voting yes on that. I don't know. Apparently he's not president yet, but he would
Yeah.
totally do that.
And yeah, so yeah, that's a really moment. There's also this really great moment where the Doctor opens the door on the Slitheen and talks to them and tries to figure out their plan, and they reveal their plan, and they're like, you can't do anything, and he's like, yeah, I can. I'll do this trapped in my box, and he's deadly serious, and it actually like starts to like worry them slightly. Yeah. Also, they go into the Prime Minister's office, and one of them is like, the telephone is actually red, and they're all just sitting there waiting to get called, like they're giggling and farting, and it's like super like hammy. And then so Big Brain 9 plan. Their plan is to launch missiles at 10 Downing Street because they're in the one portion of the building that would survive getting hit, and the Slitheen aren't. So they
Which is
literally destroy the British equivalent of the White House.
I mean,
Honestly, I respect that so much.
Yeah.
Just
the
the
what you
fucking
gotta
balls.
do, you know?
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that I don't think some of the other doctors would have done. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely feel like they would have found a different way to do that, something more clever. And I totally respect how 9 is just like, fuck it, let's just fucking bomb the place.
Yeah. And especially because, like, it's in the middle of London and they just launched missiles at it. What if they missed? Like, there is a margin of error with these things.
But nah, it's just big dick Chad shit, man.
And then there's the best line in the entirety of the two-parter where they get the phone call and this three Slitheen are like, victory should be naked.
I should have had that as my senior yearbook quote. I had it as the entire 11th Doctor regeneration speech, but I missed an opportunity. That's on me, folks.
I could
Did you
make
have-
that my
I don't-
senior quote.
Yes, please do that. Please do that.
I wonder if it might, like, break some sort of rule. I don't know. I feel like my school is really, like...
Oh, I thought you were talking about your week book quote for camp, because I was going to say it's not a problem considering what your week book quote for this
I
year
mean, like,
was.
for my senior high school quote.
Avery, since Skylar was too old for this last round of camp, can you tell Skylar what your week book quote was?
In summary, yeah. My week book quote was, Officer, I can't get into the back of your car because of my massive cock.
You know, it says a lot about how much I've come to know you that doesn't even surprise me. I thought it was gonna be I can't get into the car because I'm too dummy thick, but you know what? Your version is better.
Mine involved a dummy thick joke.
Right, because, like, I don't know, these guys, this is how they met me, was just, they meet me and I just immediately get into, yeah, I have a massive cock.
Yeah, and you were, like, posting, like, that meme of, like the beans in the crock, and you ate that fucking cheese stick by, like, putting, like, salt, pepper, and pasta sauce on it. Oh, man. Enough reminiscing. So back to the episode. The best part is the missile. Someone runs, like one of the military guys runs in on this Lithian. He's like, "There's a missile," and he sees just like 13 like gigantic green aliens standing in the Prime Minister's office, and he's like, "Sorry," and runs off.
That's a smart man. That is a smart man.
And then the missile's coming, and instead of just running out of the building, they're all fussing about, like, whose disguise is what. And they almost say, "Oh, bollocks," but they get cut off by the missile hitting the 10 Downing Street. So that's fun. And then they survive and climb out of this fucking bunker, and the doctor remembers, like, "Oh yeah, Harriet Jones is the future prime minister elected for 3 successive terms and the architect of Britain's golden age," which, you know, I said this to Skylar. The fact that the doctor, who is pretty consistently anti-establishment and anti-authoritarian, thinks this person is, like, a legend is saying something. And fucking then, like, the next time that she appears, 10 deposes her for, like, petty vindictive reasons, which directly leads to Saxon and the person who's prime minister during Torchwood Children of Earth getting into power, and it's just like, wow, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like 9 says that, and then 10 goes like, "Bet, bitch."
Yeah.
Bet.
And then at the end of the episode, we have this super, like, this is probably the shittiest thing that 9 does in like so far, where, like, Jackie, like, literally invites him to dinner and is like, cordially, it's like, "Okay, let's meet him," and 9's like, "No, I don't want to talk to them, I don't want to stay, we're going right now." It's like, wow, dude, you think you could, like, chill for 2 hours?
Yeah,
No.
at least 10 stayed and partied with them after he ruined their government. Like,
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about this whole, like, golden age of Britain or whatever, it's kind of funny now with since we have gotten about that far out, because Britain's not doing too hot.
Yeah, well, I don't think RTD particularly liked Tony Blair either, so I think in her original characterization, Harriet Jones was supposed to be some, like, super cool, like, left-wing prime minister, and then he randomly turned her into Margaret Thatcher in her next episode for some reason.
And then, meanwhile, in reality, that did not happen.
Yeah.
At all.
No, and now Britain's a fucking police state. Sorry, Britain. So yeah, it's really, like, wow. Like, he just is like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to stay. I do think something that's very, very interesting is the fact that, and I forgot this, that even here the Doctor actually offers for Mickey to go. And for the longest time, I forgot that, and I didn't think that's the case, because Sarah Jane literally has to be like, let Mickey go since you're not letting me come on board. And it's weird, because Nine's like, do you want to come? And Mickey's like, nah, fam, I don't want to fucking go out there.
Yeah.
Oopsies.
Yeah. Also, I love how he gives Mickey like a computer virus that will somehow erase every mention of the Doctor from the internet. And that doesn't even work because like Unit and such and everybody still know who the Doctor is. So it's like, it's weird.
Yeah, it's like what Clara Dalek does, but not successful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it's the same thing where like they do like a universe wipe and it's like it doesn't like really make any sense or work. Although at least the one good thing about like them doing that plot point of 11 wiping like any trace of his existence from the universe is it meant that Stephen Moffat couldn't do the thing where he said who he was anymore.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
yeah. It gets a little over the top.
Like when he scares off all of the Daleks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's dumb. So Jackie and Rose bid farewell to each other, and Rose climbs back in the TARDIS and it dematerializes off into another adventure, and that's the end of this episode.
Do you want to rate it separately or together or what?
I mean, you can do both. I will go into my ratings first. So, overall, I think I was expecting this episode to be a lot more annoying than it actually was. Like, there's a lot better two-parters to come, but the first, like, it's not half bad, and I can definitely think of, like, maybe not worse, but like two-parters that aren't as interesting or don't have the same like level of characterization. So I'd say like on the whole, for the story, I'd give it like an 8. Like it's still another really solid outing in this season. And in terms of the individual episodes, Aliens of London has, if I'm doing the math right, 5 times the number of fart jokes as World War III. So on that scale, I would rate Aliens of London a 5 out of 10 and World War III an 8 out of 10. Just for fart jokes.
Based.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go. I agree with the second episode being better for like a few different reasons. The first episode is it has some good moments, but a lot of it is just like setup kind of.
Yeah, it's very much setup.
And also, it's the
it's very
episode where
much,
like all of the bad things happen.
Yeah,
you know?
it's actually it's interesting too. Like now that I think about it, because like another thing is the way that this two-parter is paced is also paced a lot more like a classic Who thing than like later two-parters.
Yeah.
Like usually like a decent chunk of the plot still happens in later two-parters, whereas like here like nothing happens until the cliffhanger break, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a very classic Who thing. In fact, half the time, usually in your standard structure, which would be 4 half-hour episodes, you wouldn't even really get the villain reveal until that first cliffhanger. So yeah.
So like, I don't know. I just felt like it was a lot of setup, and that's the episode with all the big cringe moments. So I feel like it ended up probably about the same as the last one, 5 out of 10. The next episode was definitely better. It was a lot stronger. There was less big cringe moments. It had a lot more interesting moments. It had a lot of good characterization. It had a lot of good just Doctor moments and like the way he resolves it, the way they go through things, the interactions between the characters were a lot better, but there's been stronger. There's kind of like the resolutions were a bit of an ass pull. The whole thing with the MP sort of falls through, and she's just weird, and I don't see the point in her really, besides the just like, fuck you, Tony Blair, which, you know, I'm down with that, but like, you could have done it better. I feel like it ended up probably like a 7 out of 10 for me.
What would you rate the story as a whole?
Actually, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna demote. I actually think I'm gonna demote it to a 6.5. But
Wow.
probably the episode as a whole. I mean, I guess if I were to do an average of those two, it would be a 5.75. I think I'm doing that math right. So
Wow, I mean, I think just in general, you're probably going to be like the harsher critic of the episodes, whereas I'm going to be like super nice to most episodes.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just up my own ass with this sort of thing, but I tend to be very critical about stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We need that. And I guess Skylar.
Hell yeah. No, these episodes are weird for me. I think they do a good job overall. They're not the most interesting story plot-wise. The second episode gets a little bit more involved than the first. I'm probably gonna be the nicest on the first episode because, as I said, the fart jokes are just kind of like neutral to me. I don't really feel strongly one way or the other. They're just
no.
there.
I was memeing on the fart jokes too. Once I started doing the tally, I already knew that I was gonna joke that whatever episode had the most fart jokes was going to get rated lower. So I was mainly memeing with that, and as I said, I rate the overall story still an 8.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, yeah, but for things like that, and I don't know, I think the character work is largely very good. I didn't even mention this before, but the whole musical tone from when Rose is going up her apartment, and you think it's oh, it's happy she's about to see her mom again, and then it turns sour once the doctor notices her missing poster. That's really good, and the music is good throughout. So just for the character work and the nice tension of building and the mystery and stuff like that, I probably give the first episode I don't know, a C+7, type of deal. And then for the next episode, things are a lot tighter, not much messing around. You get to find out the plan. Even more better, excellent character work. There's not as many, unnecessary fart jokes and stuff like that. Good political
there's only
commentary.
3 in the entire episode, if my tally's correct.
Exactly. So, I'm sure fact checkers will nail you to the wall if that's wrong. But I assume it's right. So, I would probably give the next episode a 9 just because of how tight it is, and I didn't really have a lot to say. That's because at least about the second episode, that's just because I think most of you two were covering most of it, and it's it's a good episode in the way that just a lot works even if it doesn't say much. So if I give the first part a 7, and I give this the second half a 9, I'd probably give the overall story an 8, or a solid B, maybe a B minus. It's a good 2-parter. It definitely doesn't suffer from the problem with a lot of future Doctor Who parters of one episode being vastly different in quality from the other, which just brings the whole thing down. It's pretty even if I do prefer one slightly over the other. So I'll just say overall solid B minus.
All right. So next week we are going to be discussing Dalek, which is the first new series appearance of the titular foe, and I have to say, I think my expectations going into this one are really high. I remember this episode being fantastic. In fact, I think in many ways, I'd say that it might actually be the best Dalek episode of the entire new series.
It's definitely in the
Really?
top 5.
Yeah. No, I will explain. I mean, I have to watch the episode, obviously, but like, if I'm right, I think I will explain why a little bit more, like, next week when we get to that. But otherwise, since I've been forgetting to say it in the past few episodes, if you're someone listening to the show who isn't already following us or isn't a friend of either any one of us specifically, you can find the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDISPod. I am Jeff, and I am on Twitter at WheatleyDL.
And I am Skylar. I am on Twitter at skyhigh9_5.
I'm fucking cursed. My name is Avery, and you can find me at twitter.com at Big Gavery. Haha.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
And we will see you all next week.